You can thank Zoom calls and video conferencing for the fact that we are more aware of our appearances than before. After all, watching yourself on screen for hours a day draws attention to things like makeup, skincare, and of course, our hair. I'm Erin from TechGadgetsCanada.com, and if you're looking to up your Zoom game, you might be interested in a new line of smart hair tools from T3. The T3 Lucea ID flat iron and the HeatID curling iron use smart technology to adapt to individual hair types. I had a chance to use these two tools over the last few weeks. I'm going to tell you what I found. An early heads up, if you end up liking this video or finding it helpful, to please hit that like button and give me a sub, because it does help me keep making more videos that I hope everyone out there can watch, enjoy, and learn from.
T3 has long been recognized for their salon-quality styling tools, and I've had the opportunity to review a few of them over the last few years. They've taken hairstyling technology to a new level, though, with the company's new HeatID technology.
With HeatID, you're now able to customize your hairstyling experience, since the irons will now take into account your hair's texture, type, and color or chemical treatment status, and set a recommended and safe, non-damaging heat selection. T3 says this technology eliminates the guesswork from hairstyling and produces more beautiful results with less damage.
These tools combine the HeatID technology with new ceramic plates and ion generators to create a better overall hairstyling experience. Both the T3 Lucea ID flat iron and the HeatID curling iron feature that classic T3 sleek white and rose gold design with new embedded touch controls in the handles. Let's start with the T3 Lucea ID flat iron. This 1-inch flat iron has several settings. You can simply choose one of the 9 heat settings, and while these aren't labeled on the iron, I found them listed in the manual. The lowest setting is about 260 Fahrenheit or 127 Celsius, and the highest is 410 Fahrenheit or 210 Celsius. But the real magic comes in using that HeatID technology.
With the iron and some guidance from the manual, you will identify your hair's texture and whether that is fine, medium, or coarse. The length above the chin is considered short, neck to shoulders is medium, and anything below the shoulders is long, and if your hair is colored or not.
You'll make these selections right on the iron, and the first time you make these choices, it'll lock them in, and then you don't need to reprogram it each time.
There's also something called refresh mode that lets you touch up your previous day's style with less heat and damage. When it comes to other features, the T3 Lucea ID flat iron has a 1-hour safety shutoff, a 9-foot, 360-degree swiveling cord that prevents twists or tangles from forming, and an auto voltage capability that makes the Lucea ID the perfect travel companion whenever we get to do that again. When it comes to using the Lucea ID flat iron, I found the iron easy to program and to set, and the touch controls worked quite well.
T3's Ceragloss ceramic plates really captured my attention. They're so smooth and slick with absolutely no grabbing or pulling. For the most part, I was able to smooth and straighten my hair in one pass only.
The Lucea ID heats up quickly using what T3 calls its rapid heat feature, and in my tests, it was ready to go in just over 1 minute. Let's talk about how the HeatID works. I made my choices on the device according to my hair. It is medium textured, medium length, and it is colored. Shocker, I know. The Lucea ID doesn't tell you much about your setting. It just programs the right heat level, balancing enough heat to lock in the style while not overheating and damaging your hair. But it is possible to figure out exactly what it's up to.
My regular setting on my other flat iron is about 215 degrees Celsius, which is 420 Fahrenheit. Using the temperature guide in the Lucea manual, I could tell that the HeatID has chosen 180 Celsius or 370 Fahrenheit for my hair.
Overall, I did feel like I was able to successfully use less heat, but I was still getting the results I wanted. Overall, the T3 Lucea ID flat iron did do a beautiful job with my hair, and I'm happy that it's able to use less heat to do it. Now let's switch gears and we will talk about the other device here, the T3 Curl ID.
The HeatID is an elevated version of the classic clip curling iron with that smart technology built in to help you get the perfect curl. The size of the barrel on this one is 1¼ inches or 34 millimeters.
Presto changeo! The T3 HeatID curling iron also uses the T3 Rapid Heat IQ technology, and it also has 9 heat settings. Like the Lucea ID, it also uses the new Ceramagloss ceramic technology to produce smooth and shiny curls and waves. The Curl ID also has auto world voltage for travel and a 1-hour automatic shutoff, plus that 9-foot swiveling cord.
There's also a little support on the cool touch end of the barrel and a small rubberized stand to sit the base on the counter, which is a nice addition because it keeps it from wobbling. The tong is also wide and flat and smooth, making for a nice, comfortable grip.
The settings on the Curl ID are slightly different than the Lucea. Here you can set temperature manually also, but your choices for HeatID are selecting the texture, which again is fine, medium, or coarse. You can also select if your hair is chemically treated, like if you've used a smoothing treatment or if you've had a perm, if people are still having perms. This is also the setting, by the way, to choose if your hair is very fragile or quite damaged. You'll also choose if your hair is colored or not. The Curl ID has an ion generator that helps boost shine and eliminate frizz, and it works to ensure your curls will last.
So what's it like using the Curl ID? Like the Lucea ID, this curling iron heats up in about a minute. Using it on my medium textured, medium length, and colored hair, the HeatID setting chose level 4 for heat for me, which is about 325 Fahrenheit or 163 Celsius.
I was pretty shocked it would actually go that low, since I've been curling my hair on much higher settings for years and needing to hold each piece for about 10 seconds to get results.
With the Curl ID, though, I only had to hold each piece for about 6 or 8 seconds to get that same strong curl. I was really surprised and pleased that I'm now able to get good curls with a lot less heat and less time.
Overall, I am loving these tools. I love the looks, and they sure look pretty sitting out on my bathroom counter. I love the results I've been getting too with these tools. I'm absolutely shocked and delighted that I can get the same results that some of my old tools have been giving me with less heat, fewer passes, and less time. Downsides? The touch controls can be a touch finicky. You do need to ensure that you're touching them evenly and holding to get the power button to turn on, for example, but I'm sure that will just take some getting used to. Overall, though, I can definitely recommend both the Lucea ID flat iron and the Curl ID curling iron if you are looking to upgrade your hair tools. The Lucea ID flat iron right here and the T3 Curl ID curling iron each sell for about $235 US, and you can get them from T3's website. If you want to read this review or reference any of what I talked about, head over to techgadgetscanada.com where I've got a full write-up. You can ask me any questions you have about these devices either there on the blog or, as always, here on the YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Erin. Until the next time, you can find me on either Twitter or Instagram. I'm at ErinLYYC. You can also reach me through Facebook at facebook.com/techgadgetscanada.